Welcome to the Ordinary Guy Garage. I'm Scott, just an ordinary guy. And today we're gonna work on the S10, so hang tight. All right, so I guess I'll start off by letting you know what we're gonna do here. We're gonna straighten out some of the transmission stuff we got going on. So, got a cooler, got a new knob, two-step, and a new shifter. And before also, gonna do some braided cooler lines. So the transmission that's in there right now is a Turbo 350. Got no problems with it. I built it a couple of years back when I first started racing the truck. A great transmission, works great, but the problem is with the new motor, excuse me, with the new motor, it really what I need is a trans brake. Turbo 350s, from everything that I've read, they don't do well with trans brakes. In fact, when you go looking for trans brakes for Turbo 350s, there's not a lot available. So that being said, I'm not gonna run that transmission anymore. So I bought a Power Glide with a brake in it, and it's got all the extra clutch packs, super bell housing, got a shield to go over it, the scatter shield and all that. So that's what we're gonna put in there. So in order to do that, I don't know, in one of my last videos when I put the motor in, or when I built this motor, I tried leaving the transmission in and just pulling the motor, and what a pain. So I've always pulled the whole motor and tranny. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take the front end off the truck, pull the motor and tranny out, fit the new tranny in there, because it's gonna be dimensionally a Power Glide smaller, but I got this cover that goes over it, and then the extra thick super bell housing. I don't know how it's all gonna fit, so anyways, no big deal. And while it's out, I'm gonna run the engine down to the dyno and tune it. So I was gonna do that before. I was gonna put it on a chassis dyno, but the machine shop that I use, their chassis dyno is down, so I wasn't able to do it. So while it's out, I'm just gonna take it to an engine dyno at a different shop and get it done. So it's Saturday. Next Saturday, there's a race. And hopefully I'll get this all apart, get a new transmission in it, engine dynoed, all back together, new shifter, new cooler, all of that stuff done in a week. So let's get started. All right, through the magic of YouTube, we've skipped ahead a bit, but let me show you. This goes really quick. This is only about 15 minutes worth of work that we've put in so far. This piece, well, first off, because I don't have any fender wells, I close the hood down, and then I reach underneath the fender through the fender well and unbolt the hood, and then we lift the hood off. Super easy. The other thing is my fuel pressure gauge is mounted in the hood, goes right there. So that has to get undone, and then the hood comes off. So real simple thing, one guy can do it. This thing here, there's a bolt here and a bolt on the other side. Take those two and that piece comes off. Super simple. Then what we do, all the wiring and everything's still stock in this truck. So we unbolt the piece here, and then we pull it apart. So then we have the front end wires all by themselves. and that'll come loose right there, right now. And then there's one bolt on the fender right here. You have the one in the front that holds the front valance, or I can't think of what that thing's called, cowl. That comes off. Then that's the one that holds another one that holds the fender, that comes off. Then you open up the door. I got one right back there, and then another one right there that come out. And then there's another one that goes down here, back behind, that I don't use because race car, I don't need it. The other thing that I do, the front bumper, again, this is just a stock bumper, but I'll show you how it goes. Now on this brackets here, it takes a bolt on the top, a bolt on the bottom, and the top one is held in place by the rubber cushion thing on the bumper. So I don't put a nut on the top one, again, because race car. I only put the one on the bottom and tighten it down, and it holds it just fine. The other thing I did on both of these is I notched them, the bottom part of the frame here, I notched it out so I could fit a wrench in there, because the first couple times I did it was a real pain in the butt. So I've notched those back out. So that comes off. So it only takes, let's see what else we got to do. Okay, so the last thing that we got to do, and we'll push it outside to do that, and I can't get very good video out in the sun. I'm gonna disconnect the upper and lower radiator hose. Lower and upper are gonna get disconnected. And then I'm gonna take the cooler loose from here, and looser than it is. And then the whole front end will come off. So easy, takes about 15-20 minutes to get the front end off of this truck if we take our time and put tools away as we go. So I'm gonna roll it outside, I'm gonna pull it apart, take the front end off, and we'll be back in to start pulling the motor. Okay, one thing I forgot to show was the radiator, the core support here is bolted on in 2 spots. And I haven't really done anything to modify it to make it come off any. But where's it? Oh, in the front. But it's been together and apart so many times it comes out pretty easy. All right, well, got the front end off. Like I said, that takes about 20 minutes. You get the front end off, and super way easier. You know, if this was something I was driving on the street, I'd probably have fender wells in it, and which would make the hood take longer to get off. I would be using all of the bumper bolts instead of just the 2 bottom ones. I'd be using all of the fender bolts. But since it's a race car and I don't drive it on the street, I leave bolts out. It holds together just fine. So anyways, everything else is pretty much standard stuff here. We're just gonna pull apart, we're gonna get the headers off, get the fuel lines off, a few little doodads here and there, get it up in the air and get the transmission all loose. And then we'll get it out. So check in later. All right, well, here's the front end. See, I leave the radiator in, the fan on, all of that stuff. One piece comes out pretty easy. It doesn't weigh very much either. So then back in here, hopefully I got a new phone a little while ago, and this one handles going from light to dark a lot better than the old iPhone did. So motor's out, truck's empty. Not too much of a mess. You look around, you can see. I like to put tools away as I'm working because stuff like this happens. You know, the mess on the floor and all that. You add that, tools in the mix of that, and it makes it worse. And no big deal. It takes a little bit extra time to put some tools away, and makes a big difference. So there's the transmissions here. Let me put the camera on a stand real quick. Hold on. All right, I guess putting it on the stand isn't gonna work. I'm not very high tech. I have a homemade stand, made it with an old phone holder, and that's what I've been using. That's an old Harbor Freight piece of something that, but anyways, we're not about that. So my old transmission's right here. This is my Turbo 350. I used a B&M kit in it. We did the extra, a friend of mine helped me do it. We put in the extra clutch in the first gear clutch or something. I can't really exactly remember, but I got my converter in there. I just been using a steel line for the tranny lines, I just used a steel line that I bent up and kind of worked its way through. Just a little cheap cooler right there. And you know, this has worked fine for a lot of years. But like I said, it was time for the upgrade. The Power Glide here. Now this came with a converter made by the same company that made the Spec Right converters in Redding, California. They made that. So what I did was this one that came here, I already sent it back to them. And they're taking it apart and they're gonna do whatever they do, rebuild it and make it right about a 5,000 stall for my truck. So that should be back here in a couple of days. So this is the Power Glide. It's got the Super Bell housing on it. Right here, what they do is they cut the transmission and then put this here, so it's like a safety. It's a safety shield. You can see my Turbo 350 doesn't have it. They make them, and I could put one on, but I'm not gonna worry about it. Got the deep pan. It's got a 169 first gear. It's got all the extra clutches inside of it and high volume pump or high pressure pump or whatever, all the good stuff. It's got all the good stuff in it. So a couple things about the Power Glide here is if I take my measurement of my Turbo 350, I'm at 28 5/8 to the end of it. Put it on the Power Glide, 28 5/8. So they're the same length. Go from the end to the mount for the 6.5. And then this guy here, 6.5 on that one. So this will bolt right in. So where the old one was. So I chose to change the lines. I showed earlier, I have the other lines for it. And another shifter because it's a 2-speed and it won't work with a Star shifter. My $40 swap meet shifter won't work. So that's almost forgot. And this cover goes on it like that. So, of course, it needs a little bit of work on the transmission to trim it around. A little bit of test fitting, and this vent tube is in the way. So I need to see if I could get a shorter one or a different way to do the vent tube because it's hitting the inside of that. I guess with the Super Bell, I don't really need to run that, but it came with the transmission, so I'm gonna see if I can get it to fit on there. All right, well, I think I'm gonna wrap the video up right here. I'll do another part 2, I guess, of getting the transmission fitted into there and all that. But I just wanted to show what it took to get the front end off and kind of give an update on what I'm doing. Pulling that out, it took me less time to pull the engine and transmission together and the front end off than it did to just pull the motor by itself. And it's probably just because I've done it this way all the time. If I had done it just the engine all the time, then that'd probably be faster. I don't know. For other guys, I'm sure it is. This is what works for me. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna wrap it right now. Wrap this video right now, and then I'll get another one going. Maybe I'll be out here again tomorrow. It's starting to get hot. I'm getting tired because I'm old. I can't work all day long like I used to be able to. So, but anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for subscribing. I see the new subscribers. They keep on growing, and I'm getting there. So thank you for all you guys supporting me. I appreciate it. And you subscribe, you like, you make a comment. Stay safe till next time, and I'll see you then, my friends.